Alright, so today I'm going to be previewing day 4 of Royal Ascot. We've done a preview every day, and I've had a few winners across the carnival, so that's always good, I guess. But just before I start, holy shit, how good was the Gold Cup today? Obviously, Trawlerman and Scandinavia absolutely went to war and produced an absolute classic. Seeing the young guard in Scandinavia, a 4-year-old, go up against like an old legend in Trawlerman who won the race last year. That was genuinely, I think, the race of the carnival or the meeting so far, or definitely up there. Like especially Trawlerman, like the narrative going into the race, having the issue with his eyes in the sun, wearing the sunglasses in the parade ring and up to the barriers, and then he just runs an absolute blinder first up, just showing the rest of the field, like what a seasoned horse he is. He's really bulletproof at those really extreme distances, I guess. So, yeah, it was just an amazing race and an amazing ride by Ryan Moore on Scandinavia too, to lift him in that last furlong. Ryan Moore's one of the few jockeys that can just get that bit extra out of his horses. So, yeah, that was a really incredible race, the Gold Cup. But day 4, we'll start off in the Albany Stakes. I'm not spending much time on this at all. Sun Goddess is the favourite, and I think she'll be too good. Yeah, good analysis. But yeah, Sun Goddess, she looked amazing last start, I thought. 2-year-old race, so it's just going to be too hard to pick a winner. But I think Sun Goddess will just be too good in the Albany Stakes, to be honest. We'll go to the next one now. This is just a ridiculous race. Like, there are so many angles to this. 6 furlongs, Commonwealth Cup, Group 1, 3-year-olds. Now, this is just, there's a lot of form lines going in this race, and it's very hard, but I think I found one. And it's not called Venetian Sun as well. To be fair, you can't knock Venetian Sun, but she's at a price now that is just kind of mad, I think, for a 20+ runner sprint, where there is a bit of a track bias towards the near side, yeah. And although she's drawn barrier 13, she could easily come across, but just, like, I love this horse, but she's unbackable at that price, I think. I feel like she should be more like $3 chance, maybe. That might be a bit of a hot take, but I think she's just too short at the moment. Although, she hasn't done much wrong in her career, let's face it. She won the Pre-Morning as a 2-year-old, being the only filly in the field. And then they tried to step her up in distance, which didn't quite work, although she didn't disgrace herself. And then she returned in the 1,000 guineas as a 3-year-old, and didn't really fire. But I think a lot of us sort of expected her to be like more of a sprinter during this season, and now she came back in the Sandy Lane Stakes, and won very easily. Got given a very soft ride and just won like a really good horse. So I think she's the rightful favourite for this race. But just 20+ runners, track bias, Royal Ascot, massive occasion. I think she's too short at these odds, to be honest. Now, Albert Einstein's a bit of an enigma, I think. And I don't know, I feel like the races that he's come out of aren't that strong. So I'm looking away from Albert Einstein, although Ryan Moore's been riding out of his skin this carnival, which he does at every Ascot. Although that ride on the endorsement was a bit dodgy, I will admit. But this horse could surprise, I guess. I don't know. He's not really the sort of horse I'd back. Because as I said before, I don't think the form that he's held in his last few starts is that strong. Now, division's kind of interesting, although, we're on to day 4 now. There's clearly a track bias, like at the near side. So I think anything drawn low is going to struggle. And division's drawn barrier 3, so I've got to look away from him. Charles Darwin's pretty interesting, but I don't know. I feel like there must have been something wrong with him last start because it was too bad to be true. So, yeah, looking away from Charles Darwin. Wise Approach is a horse that I really want to like, but his last 2 runs have just been like not great. Like his first start, he like missed the start, and it was just a really like ugly run, wasn't it? Because he was such a good 2-year-old. Like I really want to like this horse, but I just can't have Wise Approach. Now this is the one that I like, Coppull. Now, he's got a really good record at Ascot. He came 3rd. I think he was in like the Coventry or the Norfolk as a 2-year-old at like 80-1. And yeah, obviously that's a good run. And then he won the Commonwealth Cup trial like a month and a half ago here. So This horse loves Ascot, gets Ross Orion, gets a wide draw. There's a lot of things adding up for this horse, which I really like, and I think he'll be my only bet in this race, to be honest. I think that's a really interesting form line, that Commonwealth Cup trial that had a few good horses in it, like, Wise Approach, Division, and I think he's really interesting, Coppull. I think he's very fast. Hopefully he goes forward, gets into the lead, and I think Ross Orion will be able to carry him over the last furlong. I think he's a very good jockey, Ross Orion. Now we'll look at some of these others now. Havana Anna, she's pretty good, but Barrier 7 as well. I'm trying to be like a smart punter in this race, and I'm just thinking anything near like the stand side rail, you've got to rank up a little bit above being drawn away from there, I think. Now some of these others, Outfielder obviously has done a lot of travelling. This horse, it was initially campaigned in America. He went to France for the Prix-Morny, I believe. Went back to America. Now he's back here. Probably isn't good enough, but I kind of hope Ammo Racing have a winner at some stage during this carnival, because they've spent so much money on these horses, and a lot of them haven't really proven their worth, I guess. But I do think Outfielder's pretty good. I think he could run an interesting race here, and drawn Barrier 21 too. That's where you want to be in this race. Who else is there? Havana Hurricane, who is pretty useful 2-year-old, although probably won't be good enough here. Midnight Tango is pretty interesting. It comes out of that same race that Coppull won, so you could put her in like a trifecta or something like that, or those sorts of weird sort of bets. And then some of these French horses have come over, which I don't think French form's particularly good, especially like in these sprint races. Aspect Island is backing up. He was in the King's Stand, or the King Charles III earlier this week. He's backing up, which is quite interesting. Draws Barrier 19. I've definitely seen worse 100-1 shots in my lifetime. And then Brussels, who was a nice 2-year-old, although obviously is a third string here, so kind of hard to kind of gauge an opinion on him. And then Northern Champion down the bottom, who I think he was in Dubai earlier this year. He goes alright, but this will be too hard for him. But yeah, I think I'm just going to keep this simple. Like 20 plus runners, it's so hard to win in this race. I'm just going to go with Coppull. Just everything aligns for this horse, I think. And if he gets to the front and has an easy run, I just think he could just lead the whole way. And having a really tough jockey like Ross Orion is a massive positive for these sprint races, I think. But yeah, I think Coppull wins the Commonwealth Cup, and Venetian Sun might get rolled. But Venetian Sun might be too good. But yeah, we'll continue now to the Coronation Stakes. A mile for the fillies, 3-year-olds. Now, I'm not going to spend too much on this race because it's not a very good race, to be honest. And so I just think it's lacking a little bit. Although, to be fair, you've got a horse like Valentina who, Group 1 winner. She won the fillies turf, the juvenile turf at Del Mar last year at the Breeders' Cup. And she comes here for her first run as a 3-year-old, which is kind of interesting. She's obviously pretty good. Although I feel like, at Ascot, you need to back a horse that's had a run. And the most notable case of that recently was in the Gold Cup. Scandinavia had a few runs, Trawlerman didn't. And I think fitness is such an important part of, finding a winner at Royal Ascot, I think. But yeah, you got Moon Target, who was a useful 2-year-old, but, comes here first up, probably not really any chance. I think Precise is going to win. I won't be having a bet, though, because she's too short. But yeah, True Love could even turn the tides. Ryan's gotten it wrong a few times this year, so yeah, I think Precise will just win here. She's very good. Won the Fillies Mile emphatically as a 2-year-old. Won the Irish 1,000 guineas, sorry. And then I think she's going to win here. She's very nice, Precise. And then the last race I'm going to talk about is I think it's the King Edward. Yeah, Group 2, 1.5 mile contest for the 3-year-olds. These are sort of horses that weren't quite ready for an Epsom Derby, like the favourite, Water to Wine. And, some of Cornwall's second and third stringers in that division, I guess. Now, to be fair, Water to Wine, I saw its race at Kempton last start, and it did look like a really good horse. It does look like a possible Group 1 horse. But, he's very short. What did he beat at Kempton that day? So, I like Causeway. I think Causeway is a really nice horse, very progressive. Has kind of gone up the ranks, one at a mile, one at 2,000 metres, and now he goes up to 1.5 miles. And, although he's by Wootton Bassett, he's out of a Galileo mare, so I think this, distance should be fine, and there's no pacemaker here to go forward and make it a staying contest. So I could see them going kind of slow, and I could see Causeway just sprinting and beating Water to Wine, who might be more of a stayer. And then some of these others could surprise, to be fair, like Golden Story broke through at listed level last start at Goodwood, and I think he beat Del Maro, and Del Maro went on to nearly win the Queen's Vase yesterday. So I think this form from Goodwood could be really interesting. Yeah, so beat Del Maro by a neck. So, that could be an interesting play there in the King Edward Golden Story. And then you've got the likes of Ancient Egypt, who won really well at Newmarket upon his seasonal reappearance. And then, I remember Charlie Johnson said after the Derby that, this horse was travelling into the race really well. And then that really wet ground just really found him out. But he ran quite credibly, I think. I think he's a nice horse, Ancient Egypt. And then Venetian Prince, who won the Italian Derby last start, I'm pretty sure. So not really sure what it means. But yeah, I think Causeway is going to win here. I think, Ryan Moore, Adam O'Brien, they're just so good. They're just so good. And I think if they go slow enough, this horse will sprint and this horse will win. Causeway's a nice horse. He'll win the King Edward, I think. And then, roll on to day 5. We got Jolie Star. Shout out to Australia, running in the Jubilee Stakes, the 6 furlong Group 1. So that's my preview for day 4. If you like this sort of content, like these videos, just like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you later.